Everybody loves somebody.
Hey, you are wonderful. I feel beautiful, except I hurt my shoulder last night. I was trying to get my pants off, and I lost my balance, and I fell. Right in the middle of the freeway. When I got up this morning, I went to see my doctor, and he's a beautiful guy. He lets me lick the alcohol off of all the thermometers. And while I was there, the doctor gave me a flu shot, and it worked. Next day, I got the flu. These doctors are something these days. Anyway, my doctor said I needed some rest. He wants me to be in bed tonight before 12, and that's what I'm going to do. I'll be in bed tonight right after I've had my 11th. Please don't go away, because here's a nice man to tell you who my guests are tonight.
The Dean Martin Show, starring Victor Borga, Sid Caesar.
Up this morning, toes out of my shoes. The north wind was a-howling, bringing in the blues. I said, blues, good morning. I don't want to fight. Excuse me while I have a smoke, if I can find a light. Oh, up the door and let the good times in. I don't let nothing stand in your way. Open up the door and let the good times in. Tomorrow's gonna be better than today. Now I went to that cupboard, found the cupboard bare. What happened to that sip of wine that I had hidden there? Over in the corner, a little mouse laid on his side. Now he was wearing such a grin, I thought the cat had died. Open up the door and let the good times in. I don't let nothing stand in your way. Well, open up the door and let the good times in. Tomorrow's gonna be better than today. I went out and called my baby, and when she got on the phone, I kind of had a little feeling my baby was not alone. She said, Daddy, I'm busy. Call back some other time. Now, I don't need that woman, but I sure could use the dime. Open up the door and let the good times in. I don't let nothing stand in your way. Woo! Open up the door and let the good times in. Tomorrow's gonna be better than today. Tomorrow's gonna be better than today. Tomorrow's gonna be better than today.
Oh, thank you. Oh, this kid's got a big voice. His tonsils ought to wear a bra. Hey! No, this is a good audience. Later on in the show, well, we're going to show you some uncensored photos of Gentle Ben caught in a hotel raid with Smokey the Bear. Yeah, I think you're going to enjoy our show tonight. We've got some old friends and some new friends with us tonight. Victor Borga's with us, and besides being a concert pianist and a fine comedian, He has another job which keeps him real busy. He's head of the vice squad at Harper Valley High School. Well, everybody's gone on a double date at least once, and if you don't remember how awkward and embarrassing it was, take a look at this sketch starring my pal, the wonderful Mr. Sid Caesar.
Huh? Got you the date, huh? We're all set. Are we gonna go? Okay.
Good night.
Huh?
Yeah.
Do it up right?
That's right.
How you girls doing back there?
Fine, Harry.
That's good. What are you doing?
Oh, accompaniment to your song. Your orchestration, you know.
Forget the orchestra accompaniment.
Okay.
This is the first time I'm out with these girls. Let's try to make them, a nice impression on that.
Okay. You say, all right.
Good. Look, I told them, the girls, we'd take them to downtown for a big meal, and a big show, downtown. But this is Saturday night, and everything is going to be double, so it's going to cost us at least $6 or $7 a piece, you know what I mean?
At least, yes.
So I figured before we hit the toll bridge, we could make the cutoff, and we go into a drive-in, you know what I mean?
Good idea. Good idea.
So we go into a drive-in, we see a movie, and there's a hot dog and pizza stand there, we let them eat,
Oh, yeah, turn them loose.
Sure. $4 for big men.
For big men, $4.
Yes. I'll break it to them.
Go ahead.
Listen, girls.
We're not going to any drive-in movie.
How'd you know that?
I know the way your mind works. You're cheap.
That's right.
I thought you said we were going downtown to a nice restaurant and a big show, and now we wind up at a drive-in movie.
Oh, Helen, you really have to look at it from a boy's point of view. It is hard to get into town on a Saturday night, and it's expensive.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah, and after all, they are handsome, and they are single, and they are cheap.
See, I told you, the regular girls, right?
Regular.
Okay, so you want to park here, or is it too far back for you?
No, that's okay.
Is it okay for you?
me.
It's
Okay
perfect,
for you,
real
fine.
Fine, okay.
All right, then we'll put it right up here. That's
Good.
it.
Hey, we're lucky that the picture is ready to begin.
Good.
Okay.
Ooh. What are you doing? Just sprucing up.
Sprucing up. What do you mean sprucing up?
Sprucing up. You're gonna be a little sprucey, you know what I mean? Look, why don't you go and get in the back?
What for?
Gotta be kidding. Look, will you just go and just sit in the back, huh?
What should I get in the back? I can see perfect right where I am here. Good now. Everything's clean.
Look, you can see just as well in the back that you can hail up here, will you? Will you just go sit in the back?
I can't sit back there. There are two girls back there.
Look, why don't you just go and sit in the back? That'll force one of the girls to come up and sit in the front, understand? Now, if you go in the back and sit in the back, you can sit in the back with one of the girls. And in the back seat, and I'll be sitting in the front seat with one of the girls in the front seat.
And?
And? I got a car, spent money for $4. You give me an and? I'm sitting with an and.
Go sit in the front.
I don't want to sit in the front. You sit in the front. I want to sit back here.
Well, one of us has to sit in the front.
Why does one of us have to sit in the front?
Because one of us has to sit in the front. Doesn't look right, two fellas sitting in the front seat and two girls sitting in the back seat. Now you go sit in the front.
Why?
Why? Listen, I get you a date with two fellas and we get all dressed up and put hats on and everything, and then you give me a why. I'm sitting here with a why.
Look, don't ask any questions. Just go sit in the back, okay?
Think you ought to go sit up front.
I don't want to sit in the front.
I said go sit in the front.
No!
Go sit in the front.
What are you sitting up front for?
Somebody told me to come sit in the front.
All right, let's stop kidding around here. You like him, I like you. Look, come on, let's sit in the front. Come on, stashing around. Hold on.
What's the matter? Don't you like me?
All right. Everybody out of the car. Okay, Helen, you sit up there in the back. Joe, you come up. Joyce, you come follow me. Then you sit in the back, okay? Come on, let's go. That's all.
Is this it?
This is it. Boy, what a personality he's got. He may look stupid, but boy, he acts fast. What are you doing?
Scratch my finger getting out of the front seat in the back here. That's why I'm doing this.
Well, don't do that, all right? What do you want?
I wanted some Band-Aid, and that's for my finger.
You got a little tiny scratch. What are you worrying about that? You'll be all right. Just take it easy. Well, he's a real hypochondriac. Little cut. Will you guide, son?
I think it's a little drafty in here.
Oh, I begin to get your draft.
Well, I was the window, sweetheart. You want to turn the radio off? I'm trying to hear the...
That's not the radio. That's my fingers leaving my hand.
Oh.
You're turning it the wrong way.
Oh, poor little finger.
It's nothing. It's just the fingernails are on the wrong side now, that's all.
Poor little fingers.
William! What do you want now?
Push the lighter in there. One of those.
Lighter he wants. Here. Here.
If the four of us ever go out together again, don't take him along.
Yeah.
Here's your lighter back.
I'm on fire!
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure, of course, to be on this show. I hope. We don't know yet. But, you know that everything is inflated. All prices are inflated. Everything has gone up, particularly prices, of course. That's how we know about inflation. However, numbers are doubled and tripled. There's only one instance in which the numbers have not been doubled, and that is in the language. Now, this might sound a little strange to you, but we have words in the language that contain numbers, like the word wonderful, before, and so on and so forth. There's another one. Now, we will have to meet this inflation by adding to our language, to equalize our language to the economics. So we will add to these numbers. For instance, we will begin by adding 1 to each of these numbers. And later on, as it progresses, we can add more if we wish. Wonderful will then be two-derful. Before will be B5. Create will be crenine. Tenor will be an 11er. And the tomato will be a tomnidento. Now you have a sentence like, I ate a tenderloin with my fork. That would be, I nined an 11er loin with my fork. It's not easy. I have a book here, and I think I should read to you just a little story, and then you can hear how the language would sound if it is being used regularly. May I just take a minute and say that our eminent conductor, Mr. Les Brown, might be more brown. Yes. We just keep adding. Here's a story called The Opportunity Knocks Only Twice. I'll give you plenty of time. I'll give you time and a half. Twice upon a time, a young man named Bob and his stepsister Anna lived happily in their family home in Southern California. You got that, yeah. 3 nights they were dining on the terrace of their favorite restaurant, where they met twice a week, every Sunday. Anna, a successful interior decorator, had just burned her lip on a hot potato and was playing nervously with her knife and fork because her fiancé, Don 2, see, his name was Don 1, but his fiancé, Don 2, had failed to show up as usual. It was midnight. The clock had just struck 13 when Don 2 pulled up in front of the building in his brand new 3-door sedan. A minute later, to the soft accompaniment of Tea for 3, he stumbled onto the terrace, obviously intoxicated. Anna was exasperated. I can no longer tolerate this performance, she cried. Me 3, roared Don 2, as he wiped his forehead. I'm behind the 9 ball. Sucker 3 me, sucker 3 me. That actually should be the end, but I have to finish the story. Goodbye, Anna. Goodbye, Anna, my 2 and only. Yes. Friddle-o, friddle-oo. That's all.
I sure want to thank all my wonderful guests for being with us tonight. And if you're on a TV set next week, just tune us in and we'll have some laughs, you know? Meantime, you just keep all them cards and letters coming in, folks. And this week I sure want to thank that nice little old lady for sending my wife that bottle of leg makeup. Only thing is, my Jeannie's careless and leaves it all over the house. Last night I came home and drank 5 pairs of stockings. Now, I'll be looking for you all next week. In the meantime, just take care of yourselves and remember, everybody loves somebody sometime. Everybody also loves somebody.